Per the recording of this video, 2021's opening day is just a week away, and if you'll be watching on April 1st, you'll know that you want your best pitcher on the mound for Game 1. Winning the first game is important to set the precedent for the next 161, so having your ace on the bump is basically essential. The guys you're seeing in these clips are among the elite starting pitchers in the league, but they're not the pitchers we're talking about today, because sometimes teams are forced to throw a less than likely ace on the bump for the first game of the season. We're going to be talking about those guys. It's an honor to start on opening day for your team, but not all the guys on this list are exactly deserving of that spot. Some performed better than others, and some had better careers than others, but one thing they have in common is that they are the weirdest opening day starters. To kick off our list, let's start with a season more recent and more strange than any other on the list, that being 2020. After an injury to John Means, Tommy Malone got the call to start against the Boston Red Sox on opening day, in the first game of the COVID season. Malone's career took a downturn post-2016, where he's played for 7 different teams over 4 seasons, bouncing between the bullpen and the rotation. The Orioles took a flyer on him and were forced to throw him into the fire in the 2020 opener. He struggled mightily in his short outing against the Red Sox, but actually ended up pitching well for the O's down the stretch. His 3.99 ERA in 6 games started earned him a trade to the contending Braves, where he promptly gave up 16 runs in 9.2 innings and missed out on their postseason roster. Malone gave up 4 earned runs in 3 innings against the Red Sox on opening day, and they smashed the Orioles in a 13-2 win. But in the end, the Orioles would outplace the Red Sox in the AL East, which was a nice story in of itself. Malone's career stats may be surprising, especially his innings pitched, as he's nearing 1,000 on his career. He's been hanging around for a while the past decade, and it is nice that he got to add an opening day start to his resume. Malone was a non-roster invite for the Blue Jays camp this year, and he has 4 1/3 innings with no earned runs as of the recording of this video, so maybe he makes the ball club this year. They are a team that needs pitching help, so it would be nice to see Malone back in the majors in 2021. Speaking of which, let's talk about a Blue Jays legend. Romero was once a very promising young pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, and one of the few Blue Jays in history to make multiple opening day starts for the club. He's a baseball player that many forget had the chance to be great. In 2010 and 2011, he posted 30+ games started. In the latter season, he really came into his own, posting a 2.92 ERA and 1.13 WHIP. He'd make the All-Star team and even place top 10 in Cy Young voting, earning him recognition as the ace of the Blue Jays staff. However, in 2012, his stats took a huge downturn. His first half ERA was 4.34, but his second half ERA was 7.35. During the season, no injury came to light, so the Blue Jays kept sending Romero out there. But in the offseason, he revealed that he pitched through pain in his knees because he didn't want to hurt an already uncompetitive team by being sidelined. Romero was a gamer and he'd love to compete, but this hurt him long term. Come 2013, he wouldn't be the opening day starter again, and he'd be demoted after just 4 games split between the rotation and bullpen. But rather than harp on the injuries that ruined his career, let's talk about his marvelous first opening day start that came in 2011 against the Minnesota Twins. In 6 1/3 innings, he gave up just 1 earned run on 7 hits, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 7 guys. Though the Twins would finish in last place in the Central this year, they still had a solid lineup featuring the likes of Jason Kubel, Michael Kadire, and Joe Mauer. Still, the Blue Jays would stomp them and finish the win 10-0 on opening day. His 2012 opening day start was less than ideal, giving up 4 earned runs in 5 innings against the Cleveland Indians. But Romero is a name that Jays fans will remember for a long time. If not for his great production in short time, then rather the injuries that derailed his career. After his 2013 demotion, he'd never see Major League time again, but pitched in the Mexican League through 2017, retiring in 2018. Staying in the year 2012, we have Bruce Chen, a lefty who started for a very bad Kansas City Royals team on opening day. Chen played 17 seasons in MLB, which is a number I was not expecting. The man kept kicking it, and in his age 36 season, he even posted a 3.27 ERA in 15 starts for the Royals. Come 2012, he'd lead the league in games started, but just 3 of those starts ended with him not giving up a run. Luckily, one of those came on opening day against the Angels, where he pitched 6 innings with only 3 hits allowed, no earned runs, and 4 strikeouts. Despite his efforts, the Royals would get shut out as well, with their 1-4 hitters combining to go 0 for 16 with 10 strikeouts against a masterful Jared Weaver. Chen is remembered as a solid workhorse that could go between the rotation and bullpen, and with over 1,500 innings accumulated over his career, I'd say he did a pretty nice job in the MLB. Still an odd pick for an opening day starter, though.
I wasn't talking about the hot dog.
Baseball season is nearly upon us, which means you probably want to get a clean shave going for opening day. You don't want to end up looking like Sergio Romo come April 1st. The Colby Rasmus look probably isn't good for you either. Yeah, if I were Jabba Chamberlain, I'd be apologizing for that facial hair too. Luckily for you guys, Manscaped has an awesome line of products, including the best hygiene tool for the modern man, the Lawnmower 3.0. All the products you see here come included in the Perfect Package 3.0, and it's a must-have for any guy looking to keep up their hygiene. If you're looking to browse the luxury line of products at manscaped.com, but maybe don't have the chunk of change to buy anything, make sure you use promo code OLIVE for 20% off and free shipping. This is an awesome deal that won't be around forever, so I highly suggest you take advantage of it now, especially before opening day. You want to look your best for the big game. Let's look at by far the most baffling entry on today's list. Tanner Scheppers made just 4 career starts in 180 career games, and one of them happened to be on opening day in 2014. The Rangers made an attempt to stretch out their solid reliever who posted a 1.88 ERA in 76 games just a year before. Naturally, it went as poorly as you'd expect because it was his first career start. He got roughed up by the Philadelphia Phillies and their potent offense, and he would make just 3 more starts that year before getting bit by the injury bug. There's unfortunately no footage I could find of his start against the Phillies, but maybe that's for the best. Scheppers would give up 7 earned runs in 4 innings off 8 hits and 3 walks with just 2 strikeouts as the Rangers lost 14-7 on opening day. The Rangers did their usual business of finishing last in the West by going 67-95, and the pick for Scheppers still confuses me when I check out their statistics in 2014. Now, I don't know what the injury history was, but I'd have to imagine that one of Colby Lewis, Yu Darvish, Nick Martinez, or even Nick Tepesh had to have been available. They also worked out guys like Miles McCullough and Robbie Ross, but in the end, it was Tanner Scheppers that got the call. Scheppers would return to his bullpen role from 2015 to 2017 with a 5.5 ERA over 57 games, ultimately disappearing from the league after 2017, and I have to believe that he probably would have been fine if the Rangers had just left him alone and let him be a bullpen piece, but after making those games started, his career was never the same. He's definitely the guy I'd forgotten about the most on this list. Sorry, Rangers fans, you guys deserve better. Kyle Kendrick is a name that Phillies fans will remember, but maybe not Rockies fans. We're all currently aware of the baffling free agent moves that the Rockies front office tends to make, but one that came several years ago deserves to be in consideration for the worst of all. After 2 consecutive 30-start seasons with an ERA over 4.5, the Rockies inked Kyle Kendrick and tabbed him for opening day in 2015. The guy got $5.5 million on a 1-year deal. Lucky for them, the move looked fantastic at first. The Rockies steamrolled the Brewers behind 7 shutout innings from Kyle Kendrick, where he struck out 6 batters and didn't walk anyone. This would be his last scoreless start of the year, despite starting 25 more times in what would be his last full season as a major leaguer. He finished with an ERA above 6, with most of that inflation coming from his starts at, you guessed it, Coors Field. Kyle Kendrick had some solid seasons with the Philadelphia Phillies, with over 180 games started for them during an 8-year stretch. He didn't make the postseason roster in 2008, which means he didn't get the ring with Philadelphia, but he's definitely a name that plenty of Phillies fans remember. And hey, over 1,200 innings in his career is nothing to scoff at. An opening day start is a solid thing to add to his resume. You don't see many pitchers like Josh Collmenter, not in terms of his pitch repertoire or even the results he had on the field, but the physical way that he throws the ball. Overhand starting pitchers just aren't really a thing anymore, and Collmenter is another example of a forgotten starter who had great potential. Aside from being widely remembered for his odd throwing motion, Collmenter was known for firing fastballs completely overhand and balancing that out with his bread and butter, a deceivingly slow changeup that would catch hitters off guard left and right. Collmenter's road to the majors was far from easy, being a 15th round draft pick for the Diamondbacks, but he'd earned the starting nod for Arizona on opening day in 2015, despite splitting time between the rotation and the bullpen that season. His start against the Giants would not go well, as Collmenter surrendered 4 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings, with 10 hits, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts, and an opening day loss for the Diamondbacks. However, he'd get his revenge shortly after. Just a couple starts later, he'd toss a shutout against the Giants at Oracle Park, the only shutout of his career. It is pretty confusing how Collmenter's career pretty much ended after this year. From 2011 to 2015, Collmenter had at least 90 innings pitched in every season, always with an ERA below at least 3.8. In the 2016 season, he'd once again split time between the rotation and bullpen, but still pitched to a 3.7 ERA, earning him a trade to the Atlanta Braves for their playoff run. He'd come back on the Braves roster in 2017, but struggle in 11 games, and we haven't seen anything of him since. Above all else, Josh Mancher was remarkably consistent regardless of where he was placed in the rotation or the bullpen. His career ERA of 3.64 is really impressive, but it's hard to imagine why he doesn't have nearly as many innings pitched as the rest of the guys on this list. The last entry on this list is probably one of the more sad ones, so I apologize for ending on a down note. Now, don't get me wrong, Tyson Ross absolutely deserved the opening day nod in 2016 and was the best pitcher in the Padres rotation. When he was finally healthy, Ross got an All-Star nod in 2014 and accumulated a 3.07 ERA from 2013 to 2015. That ranked 9th among pitchers with at least 500 innings pitched in that time frame. The dude looked seriously legit and a dependable arm for the Friars going forward, but this was not going to be his day. The cards weren't exactly in his favor, being that he had to pitch against the Dodgers, the daddy of the NL West at this point, and also a team he had an 0-8 record against in 10 games started. By the game's end, it was the most lopsided opener game in MLB history to that point. Tyson Ross finished with a line of 5 1/3 innings pitched, 7 earned runs allowed on 9 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. This would also be Ross's only game of the 2016 season, as shoulder injuries plagued him for not only the rest of the season, but the rest of his career as well. He'd have one more full season in the bigs on a comeback starting rotation tour with the Padres in 2018, and as an extremely effective reliever for the Cardinals after a trade. After 7 games started with the Tigers in 2019, he retired. If Tyson Ross could have been the 2013 to 2015 version of himself for his whole career, the dude would have been one of the modern greats. It's a shame, honestly, but I'm glad we could give him some love here. And he will be the final entry on our list of the strangest opening day starters. Alright guys, we're in the home stretch to opening day now, just a week away. That's all I got for you guys today, but I'm sure I'll be seeing you again before opening day finally rolls around. And heck, we might just have to chat on stream about baseball every night come the summertime. Who knows? I'm the Jolly Olive, and I'll see you guys next time.